On November 9, 2018, President Trump issued a proclamation that bars from seeking asylum for persons who entered the United States from Mexico. This rule requires persons who went to the U.S. border from Mexico and are seeking asylum to first apply for asylum in Mexico. This, combined with President Trump's earlier proclamation requiring people seeking asylum in the U.S. to wait in Mexico, has trapped thousands of persons fleeing persecution in Mexico while they await their day in immigration court in the United States. While President Trump's proclamation will no doubt be challenged in federal court, in the meantime it means that thousands of people from Venezuela, from Nicaragua, and from Cuba are trapped in Mexico awaiting to have their case heard. However, if you are a refugee from Cuba, Venezuela, or Nicaragua, it is still possible to win your case with an immigration judge in the United States. My name's Fernando Dubovi. I'm an immigration lawyer, and I recently won a case involving a Cuban seeking asylum who had had to wait in Mexico for 2 to 3 months while their case could be heard by an immigration judge. In the next few minutes, I want to give you some tips on how you too can win your asylum case, even despite the new rules and regulations in place that require you to apply for asylum first outside the United States and then wait outside the United States for your hearing with the immigration judge. First, President Trump's order did not remove the protection under the Convention Against Torture for people who are fleeing a country for persecution and want a chance to be protected by the United States. Protection under the Convention Against Torture remains a possibility by an immigration judge in the United States. To be able to win under the Protection Against Torture, you must show 2 things. Number 1, that you were being persecuted or tortured or arrested by the government or government officials or military or law enforcement officers acting under the power of the government. And second, that if you are returned to your country, you are more likely than not to be persecuted, detained, and tortured by that government. If you are from Cuba, Nicaragua, or Venezuela, and you are seeking asylum in the United States, there are a few things you can do to prepare for your case and increase the chances of winning your case, just like my Cuban clients did. Number 1, review and submit with your application the United States Department of State's Country Condition and Human Rights Report for your country. The United States State Department every year issues a country condition report on countries including Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Cuba that describe in detail the abuses going on by those governments against people who are critical of the government, who belong to opposition parties, or in the case of Nicaragua, who are part of the student uprising against the Ortega government. The State Department Country Condition Report can go a long way toward corroborating and proving your case. Second, prepare a statement, a detailed statement, for the immigration judge explaining in detail why you had to flee your country, what happened to you. Provide dates, provide events, whatever kind of details you can submit. If you were beaten and you went to receive medical assistance, try to get a copy of the doctor's reports or the hospital reports that will document this happened to you. If you belong to an opposition movement, if you were part of the anti-Maduro government or anti-Chavez government in Venezuela, or you were part of the anti-Ortega government in Nicaragua, or against the communist government in Cuba, try to document your participation and affiliation with these anti-government organizations. Additionally, if you have family who knew what was happening to you, if you were detained repeatedly by the governments, if you were beaten, if you were chased down the streets, and you have family still in Nicaragua or Cuba or Venezuela who knew what was happening to you, get them to prepare and send to you a written statement, notarized like an affidavit, that describes in detail why you had to flee the country and what kind of persecution you were facing. This kind of proof can help corroborate and prove to the judge that you are genuinely fleeing for a particular reason. Now remember, this is not political asylum. That was taken away by President Trump's proclamation that requires you, if you went through Mexico, to first seek asylum in Mexico. However, it did not take away the protection under the Convention Against Torture, which is a similar form of political asylum that allows you to enter the United States and be here lawfully with a work permit. But the important thing is, if you are given protection under the Convention Against Torture, you will be allowed to be in the United States. Meanwhile, the The federal courts will be litigating the asylum laws that were changed by President Trump, and that may open up another avenue for you later. The two recent changes by President Trump have made it very difficult for refugees fleeing their country to seek asylum in the United States, but it is not impossible. There's a lot you can do to prepare your case using the United States Department of State's own reports that reflect the conditions going on in that country. And with your own personal statement, you can document how you were being persecuted in that country consistent with what the State Department is reporting is going on within those countries. My name's Fernando Dubovi. I'm an immigration lawyer. I've been doing this for over 25 years, and I've never seen this kind of assault on basic civil rights and human rights against asylum and refugees. But this can be overcome. As my clients proved a few weeks ago, you can still win in court, in immigration court, but you must go in prepared. The key to that preparation is to use the resources that are available to you so that you can present the best case possible when you go before that immigration judge. My name's Fernando Dubovi. I've been doing immigration law for over 25 years. We all have rights, but your rights don't mean anything if you don't use them. Thank you.